Accountability? Buffalo Public School System?
Sounds like justice is being obstructed.
They're just clipping a couple second segments out.
Wow,
So,
I wonder what that's like.
speaking of, you guys want to sue one of the news channels?
Oh, get ready for
I
this.
built an entire case to sue one of the news channels.
Nick unfolds the binder of doom.
You get what you deserve.
Say hi to Eli. He's racially ambiguous, and Brandon. His hair isn't fabulous, and Donut. A dark joke disposition, and there's a fat electrician. Welcome to Unsubscribe.
Did we do the pop for this one? Did we pop the top for this one?
Yeah, for
Fuck
Ed.
it.
For Ed. Oh, yeah, we
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
do it for Ed.
What is it, Dranch?
It's finally
He's such a
over.
piece of shit.
It's Ed Dranch.
I think it's Ed Dranch.
Yeah. You, Ed.
Ed Duranch.
D-R-A. I think Dranch.
The D is silent.
Ed.
No, it's not.
On the count of Ed. 1, 2, Ed.
Ooh, do we have wine glasses?
Yeah, we should be classy. We should put this in
Do we have a wine
glasses.
glass? I should put this in a wine glass like the Buffalo School Board member.
Is there any up there?
That's okay, though. That makes it fancy.
That's right.
Yeah, try not to burp.
It's okay. I'm on a podcast where I'm supposed to be drinking. She's in a school board meeting open to the public, drinking cranberry juice out of a wine glass that she slams and then proceeds to
Okay.
flip off the camera screaming, "F you bitch."
Which was
dude.
fucking crazy. Like, I thought it was an exaggeration
No.
when you sent it. It's exactly what happened.
Yep, that's exactly. And the best part, just so you know that Buffalo School Systems is like super into like telling the truth and doing the right thing. The school board member, when she got called out on it by the other school board members, you want to know what she did?
Denied it.
She said, "That's not true, and I'm looking at pursuing legal action against that fellow school board member for slandering me."
That's crazy because just recently they said that's not true and we're thinking of pursuing legal action.
Wait,
Yeah, I
that
know.
was about me, though, about the thing that I said. That's true.
I know. And then you know what happened? The video came out. And then she apologized. And then everybody got mad and said, "You need to forgive her because she said sorry. And we can't hold adults accountable for their actions, apparently."
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unsubscribe Podcast. I'm joined today by Eli Doubletap, Fat Electrician, our good friend Angry Cops, who has a lot to talk about, Brandon Herrera, myself, Donut Operator. Thank you so much for being here.
You missed his binder.
Nick's binder.
A special appearance.
Gigantic fucking binder.
Be the bigger bully. Today's episode, we're going to have Rich. This is going to conclude everything or get hopefully everything in the right direction as we, Nick unfolds the binder of doom, his 3-ring war book.
Oh, but real quick, we since we were already on it, homegirl that denied.
Yeah, editor, I'll get you the video. Go ahead and throw up the video of the Honorable Paulette Woods slamming her glass of wine, then flipping off the school board and saying, "Shut the f up, bitch," repeatedly. She then goes on to say, "That never happened, and I'm going to sue whoever says I did it." And then the video comes out, and she's like, "I'm sorry," on a podium. This is also, I can get you the video for this too. She's at the podium and she does her apology. Then she has her bishop come up, or like her priest or pastor, religious leader, whatever. He comes up and starts screaming at the audience and is like, "She apologized and you guys need to accept this. This is nothing more," this is their quote, "This is nothing more than the high-tech lynching."
It is unacceptable that after giving an apology to our colleagues and constituents, that you choose to do a public high-tech lynching of a black woman.
Which is a wild fucking thing to say.
Yeah.
As somebody that's read a ton of historical accounts of black war heroes who fought in World War II that literally had their fathers or uncles or brothers go through something like that, and then for you to equate that, just the unjustified, lawless killing of somebody for the color of their skin, to people being upset that you were in a school board meeting saying, "Shut the f up, bitch," and flipping off the camera while drinking, is fucking disgusting, and that alone should disqualify you from overseeing the education of children.
Oh, she's
does
still
she
on the
do?
board.
She's still on the
She's
board.
still on the board.
She's a board member. She's a sitting board member.
Was she the spokesperson when everything first came out, when they had that big meeting, that initial meeting?
That was the superintendent. I forget her name. It's hyphenated.
Oh my god, this is so much fun. We get to customize this now. Wait, it doesn't have to be a blue elephant? Oh, I'm totally making it green. Wait, that's so cute. There's also orange, pink, It's brown and blue. So if you want to customize it yourself, just visit Adapted Mind or click here. Wow, Adapted Mind is so fun. There's so much to choose from. So it's gonna be green. Now what's this? Ooh, that looks so cute. What kind of feet do we want? Aw, those are like little paws. Let's do that. I didn't even notice the elephant had wings. Ugh, this is so much fun. Oh, this is the ear shape. Oh, those are so cute. These remind me of like sad little puppy ears. You have to do it. Oh, I love this so much. Now I know there are so many different options and I'm sure you would choose things a little bit differently than I'm choosing. So you can go ahead and try that yourself right now if you want to. I like the little ones. Yay, okay, our elephant is all done. His name's Woolsey. I think we need to do more math.
Ahoy! What's 4 minus 3?
Are you ready to solve this last problem and find out what's inside of that egg? I'm so excited. So we have 4 minus 3.
It just is. It's like
I don't remember her name, but it's hyphenated.
something or all.
No, that's absurd to me because that's just basic general accountability.
Not with Buffalo schools, it's not.
Accountability? Buffalo public school system?
Like this is a high-tech lynching. It's like, no, this is just us accusing you of something you were on camera doing.
Ma'am, there's video footage. This is a Wendy's.
I don't know, it's disgusting behavior.
Fucking absurd.
Yeah, so I guess where do you guys want to go from
Rich,
there?
give us an update on where you're starting right now. You've done like the podcast run, then now you're finally slowing down on that side. But what was the recourse, or what is everything happening now with you?
Okay, so it's been like what, 3 weeks? I think 3 full weeks. We're going into the 4th. So it started off with our initial buzz, and then I went in right away to do an interview with Channel 7. They did a 27-minute long interview, and they only put up like 3 to 4 minutes of its entirety. That was it. The news attacked me for about 3 or 4 days.
Now, Hai has made headlines numerous times in the past. The Attorney General's office had found Hai had been, quote, repeatedly discourteous and unprofessional.
This is ridiculous.
What is this?
This is crazy. I'm listening to all these guys burp and just be absolutely foul.
You're looking at like the White Claws on the table.
And
is
so
alcohol involved here?
My
Where
first
are they?
thought is, okay, this can't actually be real.
I don't think there's ever been another case that has come out like this. It's so 2025, right? It comes out on the podcast and
Bizarre.
And then our autistic army decided to show them they might want to reconsider coming after somebody that might be looking out for the welfare of children in the city of Buffalo, especially when we have a binder worth of information that we got just from OSINT, just from open source intelligence gathering.
Just wait until those FOIA requests start coming back.
Oh, yes. So
I hope they don't so I can sue them, actually.
it'll be great. So Nick starts doing the FOIA requests. I start getting calls from different news agencies. I'm not going on the local news anymore at all, unless it's the radio with David Bellavia, because he's been
Shout out to him.
fantastic.
Yeah, he's
David
amazing.
Bellavia's
got a radio show on WBEN.
Who's the other guy? Ben, I think, too.
Ben's on Channel 2.
Is he?
Yep.
But he's been doing good.
Or no, Ben T is from the Buffalo News.
Nate Benson is on Channel 2. He's doing great. And then Ben T is with Buffalo News. He's also doing great.
Yeah, Ben's been very funny to watch, even just on Twitter or X or whatever. That's been very fun.
That's the one with the autistic army. We're like, let him through. Stop. They all stand to the side and
do not touch him.
Yeah, careful. He's a hero.
they're all standing at parade rest, double saluting.
So after the first week of like this onslaught of bullshit on coming towards me and me bearing the brunt of it, and then our army pushing back and saying, wait a second, why are you doing this? We should be looking into this. You shouldn't be shooting the messenger, even though he has a fantastic mug, which you can now get at Bunker Branding. And shirt.
Shirt.
Put down the wrong pipe. So then Channel 2 special investigative reporter actually did a little bit of a deep dive and discovered that since 2021, there have been over 17,000 police calls to the city of Buffalo.
17,772.
To be exact. And about 54% of them fall under miscellaneous or information only, which is fine. If you get like a school board, or like, I don't know, like a school door was left open and it sounded the alarm, and you're like, all right, miscellaneous or alarm. It actually would go under an alarm call. Well, I stated originally that the schools were using these miscellaneous calls in order to cover up incidents of abuse on the children from either child on child or a child coming in and making a disclosure to the schools. Well, what do you know? Out of the past 4 major incidents that have gotten tons of news coverage from the City of Buffalo public school system, one of them being a stabbing or a shooting at McKinley, one of them I think was a stabbing. There was an overdose incident and something else.
The teacher,
and the kidnapping.
The teacher gave the kids THC gummies, and the alleged kidnapping that he's now getting charged for. Those all school other.
The crazy one was the one with the teacher that warned them about that door. They're like, hey, students are taking knives through this door.
The stabbing in Riverside.
Yeah, they're like, no, that's not a problem. Student gets fucking stabbed from a knife that was snuck in through that door, and then they denied it.
Oh, I have the footage, yeah. So in the footage, the teacher actually wrote up a thing, and I looked into him, he's the union rep for that school. Okay, so he wrote up a thing like, hey, I've had students bring in large knives into the school. They get them through school security because these schools have metal detectors or some screening process. They're getting them in through this door that's not locked and has a bad door. And he wrote every school board member and sent it to him repeatedly for, I believe it was like 19 months that he kept pushing it.
God.
Was the reply, F you bitch?
He apparently in their process, you have to push it up the chain of command, and there's 3 levels to get something approved. The first level was denied, and that's just like your direct administrator. He denied it. It's like, no, it's not a problem. He appealed it and pushed it up to the school board, and the school board denied it. Then he was still pushing to have it reviewed a 3rd time, and then it's on the superintendent.
West Oxford is a very special place. Teachers treat each other like family. We treat the children like they're our family. And we are doing our best to create global leaders that are going to change the world of tomorrow.
Many of the things that we do as a global school are things we have done here at West Oxford for a long time, but we're thinking about them through the framework of the global competency.
We went into Global Leaders looking for ways to improve our school and our academic outcomes. And so one of the things that we did when we started is we started working on building a shared vision together. The kids say the West Oxford Pledge every morning, so we're all moving in the same direction and we're all using the same language to talk about things. The second thing that the staff identified as an issue was the issue of teacher retention. We were losing staff pretty rapidly, and we had pretty high teacher turnover. And so we needed to create a culture in which teachers wanted to stay and build their skills, to create a culture in which teachers are learning and growing and celebrating, and Participate Learning has helped us with that as well. And then the third thing that we really worked on was investing the community in our school and also us investing in our community so that there's some back and forth between us and the community and everyone feels a part of the work that we're doing here.
What we want is for U.S. citizens to gain experiences with the world such that we will be better able to address global challenges.
The Global Leaders Framework and Global Education supports me as an educator.
Between the 2nd and 3rd time, the stabbing at Riverside happened. That he was trying to get the issue fixed before it became a potentially fatal issue. And then they magically approved it on the 3rd iteration after somebody had to get stabbed.
Which is what he complains about. He says, this is reactionary. Why are we reactionary?
Well, he calls it, because that recording was before the stabbing, or right after. And he goes, you guys had to wait until somebody got stabbed, just like I predicted. And sure enough, somebody got stabbed. Now you're going to approve it.
Yep.
And then the school board member has the balls to stand up there and be like, you never told us about this.
Oh, starts getting in a screaming match with him.
Yeah. And like all the other teachers give him a standing ovation as he's walking away. So I'll get the editor of the video. You can go ahead and play it. It's like 2 or 3 minutes. It's crazy.
I just want to be clear that all the time we spend here in this fantasy land world, when students at Riverside are getting stabbed, there's fights there every single day. 911 is called on a regular basis, and no one has even come into the school and had a meeting like this and talked to parents and talked to teachers and talked to our students and said, how can we protect? Excuse me, this is my time. This is my
you're
time,
going to
sir.
receive more time, but
This
point
is
of
my
order.
time, sir.
If you would have came to me and told me a situation about a knife, at that point, I would have called the authorities and took the proper action with the
Okay, know what you asked me? I can refresh your memory if you want.
Mr. Hurd, the speaker has the floor.
I told you about the knife.
The speaker has the floor.
Thank you. I filed a grievance 19 months ago, and it was very detailed. In that grievance, I talked about how a student brought a knife in the side door. It's written in the grievance, which I sent to you all. Guess what? The student who, the non-student who stabbed the student in our school, guess what door they came in? That same door. And they were in the building that day, and no one even told us. The DA had to tell us on the news. We had to do our own investigation. So there's a student with most likely a weapon in our building and no one's sharing that with us. I'm gonna say this. This district has done nothing. And I told you, what's it gonna take? Someone getting stabbed or shot to have someone come in the building? And that's exactly what it takes. Because no one has lifted a finger for security at Riverside High School. It's a dog and pony show every single time. You send in people for a week, it disappears, and then it's a disaster again. These kids and these teachers deserve better. And if you can't do the job, then all of you should have the dignity to resign and let someone else do it.
Thank you, Mr. Plummer.
This is Purdue University. This is where the work starts. This is where collaboration.
So we go to that where Channel 2, the investigative reporter, pulls out the stats and says, hey, wait a second, look at these numbers. These are concerning. These 4 major cases were all intentionally mislabeled as something other than what they actually were, whether it be stabbing, shooting, overdose, etc. Then, shit, I lost my train of thought. What happened after that? There was the 21 thing, and then, oh yeah, then that's right. Then the guy that did the attempted kidnapping of the 2 kids.
When was that?
Well,
when was that?
Well, going back to the stabbing at Riverside, I believe, from what I can tell, there's been independent third-party investigations launched for the Riverside stabbing and for the shooting at McKinley in 2022. Neither of those independent third-party investigations launched by the school board have been released to the public or the Buffalo PD or the legal system.
Who's the
at all.
third party in these situations?
Whoever they pick.
Yeah.
Right
that's
now
what
it's
I'm saying.
open. It's any law firm can get on their website right now and apply to be the third party investigator. And I believe with the Riverside stabbing, I looked into it, and the law firm that they did then cited, assumingly they found results that they didn't like. So the law firm's like, well, this is actually attorney-client privilege, so we don't have to give this to you.
Is that their workaround so they can just do it?
Yeah, so this is a workaround. They're gonna say, oh, we're gonna do a third party independent investigation, and then once we have the results, if we don't like them, we're gonna claim it's attorney-client privilege and never mention it to the public, and the public's gonna forget about it by then.
This doesn't require an investigation. It's just fact.
Yeah.
Is the crazy part. What are you going to look into? It's going to take you a fucking afternoon if you're not clinically retarded.
Right. Yeah. And they had a 4.5 hour meeting the other day trying to appoint a special investigator. 4.5 hours, couldn't figure out who they were even going to have do the investigation.
Guys, when you leave your dogs at home, do you ever worry that they might find your firearm?
Stop box. By the way, from somebody inside the schools, quote, BPS General Counsel Nate Kuzma, who works at the same firm as the former DA who opened his mouth, who's full of shit, has made an attorney-client privilege so that it could never be shared intentionally. That was the end result of that one.
So that's one thing to look out for or really stress moving forward is not letting that happen as they hire a new one.
Yeah, they'll have somebody investigate
They're
it.
intentionally not going to hire a new one. I can't prove it. I can't prove it with evidence, but I have multiple people that have all basically said, well, the superintendent's retiring in June and she has 3 or 4 friends on the school board and they're basically going to stall this until she gets her good retirement and then they'll let it go to an investigation. So they're just trying to drag this out as long as possible to protect their buddy. Then they're going to drag it out as long as possible.
Who is this superintendent?
Oh,
The hyphen
Dr.
woman.
something Knight.
The one that's really upset that she had to shut down her social media and ignore everybody coming to her with concerns.
And who's going to be next appointed? Because you knew who's next in line,
so the
which
next
that's
guy
something to
getting
watch out for.
appointed, I've heard from multiple sources he's not great either. I can pull up his name.
Well, he's friends in that group, so he's already condition for this.
Well, there's only like
behavior.
one male in the board, isn't there?
Dr. Tanya Williams Knight.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. I got a hold of the teachers union rep. I sent him an email because one thing the news did that was really shitty is they took the one snippet where you were talking about allegedly one teacher in particular was putting kids inside of a bathroom with the lights off.
Yes.
One teacher is what we said.
Correct.
The news then portrayed it to the teachers union president, Richard Nigro, that we were saying this about all teachers.
Which we're not.
And he was upset. Obviously, like that's fair if you think that we're saying all Buffalo teachers are throwing small children in a cage, which we're not saying at all.
We were
and he's
specific
like,
on that.
you're painting everybody with a broad brush, right? But they're just clipping couple second segments out and portraying it.
On another podcast called Black Rifle Coffee Podcast, High described how some teachers and teacher aides use school bathrooms for so-called timeout rooms.
The Buffalo Public School will put children in the bathroom and turn off the lights and then put their foot against the door so the kid can't get out. Where's the timeout room? Oh, it's the bathroom. Timeout room is the bathroom? Yeah. What do you do in the timeout room? Well, my teacher and the teacher's aide at the Buffalo Public School will put children in the bathroom and turn off the lights.
Wow, I wonder what that's like.
Yeah, exactly.
Geez, the news doing that to two people who are trying to better the environment for people in their community? Brandon, who would know what that feels like?
You know, this is why I think that media trust is at an all-time high.
Oh.
And it's a smart move on their part because right now, all the information I have hundreds of teachers that I've talked to and interviewed and everything. And they're the ones that are giving me all the information, telling me what FOIA requests to fill out. Like, they're the ones that are helping. By and large, all of these teachers are great people trying to do what's best for these kids. And they all feel that their hands are being tied behind their back. They're not allowed to do what needs to be done to keep these kids and themselves safe. And the administration is intentionally doing it.
I mean, you're 2 decades into your career at this point, and you've never been written up in 20 years.
Never. All of a sudden, instantly. Getting called down to the administrator's office. And the odd thing about these write-ups, they weren't anything. They had no backing. It was just to intimidate me. I mean, it just got crazy. I just pulled it up before I got on with you, and I have this document. It's like every other day we are getting called down. And I got to the point where my phone would ring in my classroom, and I would get sick and I would puke. Because I would literally go to the bathroom and puke because I was being tormented every day and supposed to teach kids at the same time. And it makes you physically ill because I'm not used to treating people this way, ever. And I'll tell you what, it started then, and up until a month and a half ago, it has not stopped. They have not stopped retaliating against me, and it's almost gotten worse.
So what they're doing is they're coming out and making it seem like, we just want to burn everything to the ground and go after these teachers. We don't. Like, the teachers are great. It's just not even all of the administration. Some members in the administration and the culture that they've created are not safe, and it doesn't allow these teachers to do their jobs.
Which is really fun that you have teachers on the inside that are essentially like with telling you what FOIA requests to file and shit.
Oh, yeah.
That's basically like they're giving you the exhaust port plans on the Death Star. Like, please, for the love of God, blow this up.
Well, the scariest part to me is every single, with the exception of like 1 or 2, and the 1 or 2 that I've talked to, the only reason they're not terrified of losing their job is because the school board has already gone after them repeatedly and tried to fire them and lost in court.
Correct.
Nice.
The gentleman that we've already showed the clip of at that school board meeting, that was a union rep. I forget what instance it was, but he got into it with the Buffalo School Board over some safety stuff, and they put him on paid leave for 2 years while they tried to fire him.
What the including fuck? Other people.
Including because he was the head of the social studies department. So not only did they put him on paid leave, they put the entire social studies department, which I believe was 5 teachers in total, on paid leave for a year and tried to fire all of them. And by sheer coincidence, the other 2 social studies teachers of the 5 that they put on paid leave were the other 2 union reps for that school.
Almost like they're trying to union bust, which is
illegal.
Oh!
What the?
And then they ended up losing in court, saying the teacher did absolutely nothing wrong. And the Buffalo School Board's people testifying on their behalf were found inadmissible in court, presumably because they got caught lying under oath.
About what?
I don't know exactly what. I have the court documents, and you can see that their testimony was deemed no good.
And nothing happened because of that?
He ended up getting to keep his job.
No, but I mean, lying under oath, there was no repercussions?
Why would there be?
It seems to be a recurring theme.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. If there is a mass layoff or they try that, understand why it's happening. It is the big cogs right now that are the issue. It's a lot of the times what happens is the big cogs at the top, you can't do anything. So they're just like, oh, replace these ones until we find team players, and then rinse, repeat until you do find team players. But right now, the goal of all this is to get rid of those fucking big cogs that are literally pieces of garbage.
Ed Dranch is a giant cog.
You know, his comments are still turned off on his Twitter.
Good.
They're going to have to be turned off
His
for a
phone
while.
number was on his Twitter for a while.
Well, it was like his business phone number, I think.
Yeah, that was an interesting call.
You know, maybe don't attack the podcast as trying to stick up for kids, and then double down when we quote you and post the entire 1.5-minute opening of your video where you do that and go, well, no, that's not what I said.
It was taken out of context. I'm like, no, I watched the full fucking thing.
We played more of his original opening in that video straight than they did of my entire 20-something minute interview at Channel 7.
It's wild not to apologize. I do not get that mindset. It's like, I wonder if I just came out and was like, hey, sorry, I messed up. How that might react. Or
even
the
if he was just like,
audience.
hey, clarify, just to
I messed
clarify,
up.
I think these are very important allegations. I didn't mean to downplay it, whatever. Just take a little bit of accountability.
Yeah. My intent wasn't this. You don't have to say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My intent was to talk about the thing, and I hit on this thing first. I could have saved that for a later date. And our army would have been like, hold.
Hey, Brandon.
Yes, Eli?
When you think of businesses that are just crushing it, Bunker, Unsub, what's the first thing to enter your mind?
That's easy, Eli. A good child labor law attorney.
Huh?
Eli, I said Shopify. What did you hear?
Actually, it was the overlooked secret behind the business.
Like I said, Shopify.
Oh. Which brings us to today's ad.
Shopify. I mean, we use Shopify on a daily basis.
That's right. We use Shopify for Bunker, Brandon, and Unsub. Those magical shoes we have where they're linked through Shopify to the mythical store at Bunker Branding. And because of Shopify, they communicate.
It's like your mom and your dad on their anniversary night. Not yours.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify.
They are home of the #1 checkout on the planet.
With Shop Pay, which boosts your conversion up to 50%.
50%. Just like the age of all of our factory workers are 50% the age they need to be legally employed in the United States.
Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we get over at Unsubscribe or Bunker.
Sign up for your $1 per month trial period over at shopify.com/unsubpod.
Head over to shopify.com/unsubpod to upgrade your selling today.
Shopify.com/unsubpod.
All lowercase.
Speaking of, you guys want to sue one of the news channels?
Oh, get ready for this.
I built an entire case to sue one of the news channels.
All right, what's the case?
Were we slandered, Nick?
Well, Rich was defamed.
I was defamed.
And I can prove it. I built an entire case out for it.
Neat.
Neat.
very
yeah,
exciting.
So,
for all the lawyers out there, this is called foreshadowing.
I'm conflicted because this news channel's been the least courteous to Rich, but they've also got the best journalist working for them. So it's kind of one of those cases where Nate Benson works for Channel 2 WGRZ, but everybody else that writes on it that isn't Nate Benson shits on Rich to the point that it's now defamatory, and I can prove it. Okay, so in multiple articles, including YouTube videos that they put up, which I have saved, and news broadcasts that they've aired, which I have saved, and news articles that they've printed, they've all claimed that Detective Richard High is on the Brady list.
Yeah.
You know what the Brady list
Which
is?
is incorrect.
Yeah.
Guess what I have?
Well, would you like to explain what the Brady list is?
The Brady list means that you're on the no-fly list when it comes to the district attorneys for when you go and take the stand to testify. It specifically states that you have credibility issues, which I know I've never lied on the stand, and all of my internal affairs or complaints never has to do with my evidence collection, my time on the stand, my integrity, or lying about any sort of charges that I've put on. So I have zero credibility issues on the stand. That is my history. But them saying that I'm on the Brady list would say that I do have credibility issues and that I cannot testify because of those issues.
It's a pretty big allegation.
I would say it's significant and would look very poorly in my career.
Yeah.
Because a detective not being able to testify is significant.
That would be
very
crazy.
damaging.
And then
Very
we put it
damaging.
right here, right? We can show the clips of them saying that right here.
Yeah, I have them.
The allegations made on the Unsubscribed podcast by Buffalo Police Detective Richard High have prompted the Buffalo School Board to seek an outside investigator. Officer High alleges the district failed to report an attempted abduction, sexual assault, child abuse, and destroyed evidence, which he discovered while working a case. Allegations that have outweighed High's status on the Brady list, which is a list of law enforcement officers whom the Erie County District Attorney's Office have found to have credibility issues.
So Channel 2 is the only one that even after it came out, that like, oh, he's actually onto something. When all the other news channels just started referring to him as SVU veteran detective Richard High, they would still put in the article, these allegations appear to outweigh his placing on the Brady list. Like just mad they have to admit that he's doing the right thing. Well, I have the Brady list. Guess who's not fucking on it? Richard High. So claiming that somebody is so uncredible that they can't even testify in court under oath is a pretty big allegation, right? The problem with defamation is if I was going to sue you for it, I would have to prove that it wasn't a genuine mistake and that you did it maliciously, right? So how would I be able to prove that?
Well,
that they
like
were
a history would probably be able.
Oh, like an ongoing history? Cool. What if I trained an advanced AI to go through their entire website and catalog the top 10 officers in the history of the news source that they've written articles about? And Rich is the third most reported on cop in Buffalo history out of 800 police officers, and not a single article is near even remotely charitable to Rich.
Some of them don't even have to do with me, but they bring me into the article to then defame me.
Anytime they get a chance to throw him under the bus, they do it. Okay, so I can prove that he's the third most reported on cop in Buffalo's history out of 800 cops, which to me says that you've got a wild hair up your ass and you're gunning for him. Okay, so I'm able to prove that you would lie on purpose because you don't like him, right? But then what's even harder is I then have to go out and I have to prove that he's not on the Brady list, which he isn't. And then what was the other facet? I have to prove that
it wasn't a mistake.
It wasn't a mistake, which, the evidence seems to imply that.
If they try to fix anything, it is Sunday, May 18th, 2025, when this comes out. I don't want them to be like, oh, look, see?
You better redact this.
Yeah, like, this is the exact date. 10
Luckily-
days, I will then enter again, again.
I have it all saved.
Okay.
We have the Wayback Machine, fuckhead.
Yes.
I have it all saved in catalog. But like then the real problem is like, okay, so I proved it was malicious. I proved that, you are lying. And that was on purpose. You've got, you maliciously did this to Rich. So then the problem is like, okay, well, it's just one cop. It's one detective out of 800. How much is that really worth in a defamation case, right? But then you got to realize Rich is probably the most famous active serving cop in the world.
I'm stylish. Got 'em all wild.
Anybody think of another cop?
Like active?
A cop with multiple millions of subscribers that's recognized nationwide and globally, who built his entire online persona around accountability, doing the right thing. And then you come out and you say that he's such a piece of shit that he can't testify under oath because he lies all the time. Seems like that'd be worth a lot of money in court.
Yeah, and also that proves a financial harm to your brand.
I wish Rich would come
that
on
was
the
the other
podcast
part.
with Mike the
That was the other part is I would have to prove financial harm, which would be tricky to do unless I got like 20 to 30 people to comb through every Reddit and Facebook post that's been out since this case broke and took screenshots of hundreds of people parroting the same talking point that Rich is on the Brady list.
Oh.
Which came directly from them, from a credible news source. So now I can prove that it did harm his reputation.
Yeah.
If there's any lawyers that would like to take up this case.
Yeah, so I guess I'm saying if I were Channel 2, within like 48 hours of this video dropping, I would have a whole article apologizing to Richard High on how you guys were wrong. And when I say a whole article, I don't mean go back and change the articles. I mean, I would make a whole article titled WGRZ apologizes to SVU detective Richard High for fucking lying, or I'm going to turn over all this evidence and then go to the kitchen and grab some popcorn while I watch him sue the dog shit out of you.
Cheers.
Oh,
I love
like
you.
this so dude.
I'd like to see
how your
bad
history
people get
elements-
what they deserve.
Right? You get what you deserve.
Well,
High's allegations have outweighed his status on the Erie County District Attorney Office's database for law enforcement officers with credibility concerns, even though he's not on it and never fucking was.
Quote, Channel 2 WGRZ.
Oh my God.
Whoa. You're being
And I know Reddit probably had a heyday just going through
Oh, yeah. I got hundreds. I got hundreds of comments parroting their false talking point where they defamed him. And I have the screenshots of all those comments already. So, I mean, if they don't want to apologize publicly with its own article and put it up on your fucking YouTube channel and the news broadcast, then I'm just going to turn it over and I can prove that you've written about him the third most out of 800 cops over the course of his career. Nothing's ever been charitable. You throw him under the bus every chance you can get. I can prove he's not on the Brady list, and then I can prove that I have hundreds of comments of people parroting your false talking points to discredit him as, you know, defamation and harm to your credibility for the most famous cop in the world. So that reputation's worth a lot of money. Up to you guys.
Bury that fuckhead.
Nate Benson, sorry, you're a great journalist, but somebody else working at that news agency has it out to get him. I don't know if it's Ron Plants or the guy writing his scripts, but they're going to cost that place a lot of fucking money unless they start eating some crow. So, see you soon. The Buffalo School Board is just creating policies where it basically ties the hands behind the backs of the teachers that are trying to do the right thing. And I have multiple teachers, multiple interviews, I have hundreds of stories via written. But they all say the same thing. They've all attempted to do the right thing, and they've all been instructed by the school board that they're not allowed to do it. And I've asked repeatedly, and nobody knows that this is actually written down, but every single teacher has told me this without me asking. They've all told me the same thing. Buffalo school teachers are not allowed to call 911. They have to talk to an administrator, and the administrator makes that call.
Geez, Nick, does that ever come up in one of these stories where something happens and it could affect the health, welfare, and well-being of a child?
It sure does.
Wow.
Multiple times.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we can go into the THC gummy ones. So I've interviewed multiple people on that. I've interviewed the uncle of one of the boys that took the 500 milligram edible. And he is very disappointed with the school board. A, how do 500 milligram edibles just wind up on the hallway floor or at the locker room floor in a middle school? And then why would a teacher pick them up and give them to children? Whatever, stupid shit happens. Maybe that is happen. Maybe that did happen. That's not my overall issue with the thing. My issue is the school and their policies at the administrative level do not allow things to get addressed as quickly as they should for the safety of children. The paramedics who I've talked to and I've interviewed.
Quick, what is the age of the children? This is
11 and 12.
Okay, so you have 11 and 12. And 5 milligrams, 5 will wreck somebody that's never done it, especially when you weigh 80 pounds, 90 pounds. Now, 500 milligrams, like what would 50 do?
I know what 500 does to an 11-year-old because they were hospitalized with resting heart rates of 130.
You said he found it on the floor?
He allegedly found it on the floor, either in the hallway or in the locker room. And I have a picture of the THC gummies. They resembled Sour Patch Kids, but as you can see, Stony Patch covered in weed.
They've got singular Cyclops eyes.
It's singular Cyclops eyes that in a colored version, they're very red, as if you'd been smoking weed. So, but granted, it does, if you're just taking a glance, maybe it does kind of look like Sour Patch Kids, and maybe it was all an accident. Whatever, that guy should still be fired, but that's separate. My issue is when the EMTs get called, the EMTs show up, and I've talked to the EMTs. They pull up to the school, and nobody will let them in. The doors are locked. Now, if a child is overdosing on an illegal drug, I would either A, have somebody sitting at the curb waiting for the EMTs to show up and then immediately take them to the children, or I would have the children outside waiting and hand them off. Not what happened. Took the EMTs, I believe he said, 8 to 10 minutes to find someone to let them into the building. And nobody would even come to the doors. It was actually the security guard from the parking lot that came in, and the security guard's like, hey, what's going on? He had no idea. He had not been briefed on the issue. So it took them somewhere between 15 to 20 minutes from arriving on the scene to get to the children that were overdosing on an illegal drug. And then once they got in there, the principal was apparently just didn't really give a shit. The school resource officer that was there comes up and is arguing with the EMTs, like, well, do they really have to go to the hospital? They look fine. And the EMT is like, yes, they're going to the hospital. So that was an issue. And then a patrol officer showed up on the call as well. And the SRO and the patrol officer got into like an argument about why that guy shouldn't have even shown up, and the SRO had it under control.
Meanwhile, you said this kid has a resting heart rate of about
130, correct. He's having the worst day of his life. He just had 500 milligram edible.
Just so we reference, if it's 50 per gummy, so it's a 500 in a little bag.
The two of them ate an entire bag.
Jesus.
So yeah, 250 per, and again, like 5 would wreck somebody at that.
Yeah.
That level, 50, 250 if they split it.
So they ate the entire bag because it was candy. And so this is all going on. And I believe it was the principal or the assistant principal. It was an administrator that had the bag. They had to go into the administrator's office and be like, hey, I'm trying to figure out how much drugs these kids had under your supervision. Where's it at? And she had it sitting underneath her big like metal tumbler. And the EMT said like she was trying to hide it. And when he directly asked her for it, she like reluctantly gives it to him. And he investigates, sees that it's 500 milligrams in the bag. Okay, now he knows. He hands it back to her, takes the kid to the hospital. Comes back, and he's, taking notes. He wants to see the bag again to either take the bag or take a picture of it. We don't know where the bag went.
Oh.
So the evidence disappeared.
Wait a second. I feel like the destruction, intentional or unintentional, of evidence is like an ongoing theme with the City of Buffalo school system, whether it be video evidence or physical evidence like this bag.
Richard, isn't
one
it crime?
Destruction of evidence? I believe there's something. I'm tisming right now because I believe New York State Penal Code has that.
Sounds like justice is being obstructed.
Now, so like that's pretty bad, but like it's an indicator of the overall problem, right? So they're just not working with first responders in the way that they should. And all the teachers have told me this. They're not allowed to call 911. They have to do everything through the administration. And I interviewed another teacher who wanted to remain anonymous, so we're going to play that clip here in a second. But has a story, and I believe I've shown you guys a video, so we don't have to watch it. We'll just play it for the audience.
When I taught at another school in the city, the music teacher had a student that passed out cold. And this was probably like a 6th grader. She ran over to my room, the teacher, and she said, so-and-so just passed out on the floor. I can't wake him up. Come help. I went over there. I'm like, we got to call the police. So we called the rule is you have to call an administrator before you call police. You have to. So we call the administrator, and the administrator says, you are not calling anybody. We're going to call the mother and have her come over. And me and this teacher are like, what are you talking about? Like, we can't wake the kid up. Like, we need an ambulance here now. No. The principal came down to our room and stood there while this kid is passed out. Passed out. No ambulance, nothing. Do you think that's crazy? Mom finally shows up. Gosh, I don't even remember how it ended. I know Mom was motherfucking everybody, and shame on me. I was younger back then. But there's always this idea, like you're always scared of like, you're going to get literally, I don't know what ruling the administrators have, but there's something that they do that you are scared shitless.
Do you remember what ended up happening with the girl? Like, why she passed out? I mean, did she get to the hospital eventually?
She did get to the mom brought her to the hospital. Yeah. And I remember she was back in the building the following week. So.
I mean, she was out of school for days after this.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they probably didn't double back to let you know what the medical issue was. But regardless, I mean, that girl could have been ODing on drugs, and it took what, 30 minutes, 45 minutes to get mom, drive there from work, pick her up, drive her to the hospital rather than just calling the ambulance?
Yeah, it was probably a good, I would say it was about 20 minutes. I think it was about 20 minutes. It was awful. Awful. Like, we could not wake this student up.
So, I mean, it took this kid an hour to get to the hospital when she lost consciousness and was unresponsive. And she didn't end up making it back to school till the following week.
What I just don't understand is the incentive. Is it just the whether it's anti-cop sentiments or just trying to make the school seem better than it is, or like it's functioning better than it is? Why do they feel like they just have? What is their goal?
I truly believe on my side, just the overview, stranger to it, haven't deep diving. It is, we need to look good. Look how good. Yeah, we had 17,000 calls, but half of those were just what were they called?
School other.
Yeah, school other, the information only.
The small stuff. See, we're really
miscellaneous.
safe. Yeah, miscellaneous. We're really safe. You're good to go. Funding, however that works. And you just keep doing that.
Yeah, and then that shithead lawyer that works for the school from Lipschitz Mathis or whatever the fuck that law firm is comes on the news and he's like, actually, the sheer volume of calls that they've contacted the police clearly shows that they're working great with law enforcement. I'm going to conveniently ignore the fact that 54% of the calls were listed as school other. So then we call them out, and that doesn't work. So then they get fucking John J. Flynn, I believe his name is, former district attorney.
His middle name is Jizz.
And the news brings him on, and he fucking is like, well, actually, I was a district attorney, and I promise you that, the whole time, I realized that the dude was only getting charged with misdemeanors for assault and child endangerment, and then Rich came out and said that he was kidnapping, and then the DA, after having a bunch of backlash, magically was like, oh, we are going to charge this guy with felony kidnapping. But, that had nothing to do with the podcast, and I would know because I'm a former DA. What the fucking news didn't tell you is Flynn also works for Lipschitz Mathis or whatever the fuck that law firm is that is directly working for the school board. The entire thing's bullshit and rigged.
So the only people that are talking out or speaking out in their favor are people who have a financial incentive to do so.
Correct. Financial and legal obligation to do so.
Just clarifying.
Isn't that neat? Isn't it cool how the news left that part out, that he's working for the same law firm that protects all the administrators? It's crazy the news would do that.
It's funny because Flynn also said that he didn't have any incidents where the school was covering anything up during his tenure at DA at the DA's office as the DA. But you know what, Nick?
It took me all of about 15 minutes to find out that not only was that a fucking lie, you can actually still go on change.org or change.gov and sign a petition to this day demanding that he step down as DA because he refused to prosecute childhood sex crimes appropriately. That's the entire reason they wanted him to step down.
How many thousands of signatures does it have already?
It had 3,500 before I put it out to the internet. There's probably hundreds more because people went and also signed it just from mine. But it was 3,500 people legitimately from Buffalo that would have signed this thing, demanding that he step down for not properly addressing childhood sex crimes.
Do you have like a single instance of those, just one of the stories?
So a lot of the story that it goes back to is in years prior when he was the DA, the Archdiocese, the Catholic Church operating in the area of Dubuque, had a priest or multiple priests that had been accused of childhood sex crimes, whatever, and he apparently did not do his due diligence in investigating and punishing those sex crimes. And I think the Archdiocese of Dubuque is like in a stage of bankruptcy right now because they've been sued so many times. But that being sued is a civil lawsuit.
Right.
Not a criminal lawsuit. So that means that the parents, allegedly, if these kids were assaulted, were having to go into the legal system and file and sue the church individually, and there was no criminal prosecution. And that's why they wanted this guy to step down, is because he was not doing his due diligence and punishing childhood sex crimes. So for him to come out and be like, yeah, I would have never done this as DA, it's bullshit. You did it.
Mm-hmm. Also, one of the specific things that I brought up happened during his tenure. One of the stories where there was a saw at a school pool, and the school principal, this happened 2 years ago while he was DA, and the school principal failed to not declare it, report it. And then a year later, the child that was the victim of it disclosed it to somebody else. Then it became an investigation, but guess what happens after a year? All physical evidence is gone. The video is erased and like recorded over because it's been a year. They only save it for like, let's say even 180 days. That's gone.
Yeah.
And that school principal wrote the DA and said, hey, I'm not going to come in for the subpoena that your office sent me because I did my own investigation and I don't really care. Sent a letter stating why they're going to refuse to respond to the subpoena while he was the district attorney.
I have a question. I like do history videos on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to apply at Buffalo schools to be a history teacher with no degree in education or history, do you think that I would get
Imagine a school that prepares you for life beyond the classroom. At DCA Wisconsin, our unique blend of academics and career training empowers students to explore in-demand fields and earn industry certifications, all while in high school. It's public school from home for your future. Enroll today.
hired?
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Why is that?
Well, because you don't have like a teaching degree.
Oh, so I don't have the proper training to be a teacher, yet they don't have any training to be an investigative detective, yet they can host their own investigations, determine that no crimes were conducted, and then not inform law enforcement, even though they're a mandatory reporter. That's what you're telling me.
I mean, that's exactly what I would get out of this story.
Like
and it also happened during his tenure as DA, which goes against what he was talking about when he went on the news to open his big, fat, stupid mouth.
They're like a slam poetry duet.
Cody, look.
What?
Not at me. Look at Brandon.
What? What?
Yeah, that's right, Cody. Those are Stealth 700s by Turtle Beach.
Do you mean the ones that have an 80-hour battery life with quick charge?
Cody, they're also noise canceling. Watch. Brandon, put on your headphones.
The thing I hate about Texas is these they're horrible. But the food is really good. That's the one thing I have to say about them.
I don't know what you said, but I'm sure I agree with it.
I wish I had those headphones for that.
When I was a kid, I always wanted Turtle Beaches. These were like the be-all, end-all. Like, this is what all the cool kids had. But I was broke, and so now it's cool that I finally have a set.
When I was a kid, those didn't exist.
The Stealth 700s have the first cross-play dual wireless transmitter system, which means you can seamlessly switch between your PC console at the click of a button.
That's a mouthful.
I'll show you a mouthful. Turtle Beach doesn't just have amazing headsets. They have every gaming accessory you could ever want in high quality with prices that don't break the bank.
Head over to turtlebeach.com and use code UNSUB to get 10% off your entire order.
Buy a beach turtle.
Kill them. After your purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about their amazing products. Please tell them Unsubscribed sent you.
Get the ultimate immersive gaming experience with Turtle Beach today.
The Stealth 700s give me an edge and escape from Tarkov. I can hear footsteps way better.
And if we know Cody loves one thing, it's edging.
Head over to turtlebeach.com. We love you.
Buy a hammer, go to the beach, find a turtle.
Wasn't there also allegedly another potential sex crime that was conducted, and when the law enforcement officer showed up to investigate it, all the administration and teachers had gone home for the day, so he couldn't do his job?
Yes, there's two new stories that have come out.
When was it? Okay, when was this?
Since our original.
This has been since. This is while they're now facing intense scrutiny. This is what they're still up to.
We are like B-Day plus 22 or something right now.
So I'm going to tell you. I think one that's more telling, that is a better picture, because it's all on body cam. So I was made aware of an incident that happened at a Buffalo school that happened, and I don't know the call number yet. So you can't even ask me about it. All I have is information from individuals that were there. School, police, EMT, not going to say who. I'm just saying that information was given to me by a couple different sources. And the information is that a assault had occurred at the school, at some school. I haven't confirmed it yet, but I know that it happened because of the people that are telling me about it. Assault happened at a school in the city of Buffalo. Officers responded to that school. The officers asked the staff for information, and let me rephrase that. It was assault. It was just a normal assault. It was two students had beaten up a janitor or somebody to that effect within the school. So the janitor was basically stomped pretty bad.
These like high school age kids?
I believe so.
Okay.
The janitor is stomped pretty bad and beaten up by these kids, jumped. The officers go to the school. They talk to the principal and say, hey, this is serious. We need the video of it. And And also, we need to know these kids' names. And the school principal said, no, not giving you anything, not giving you the kids' names. And they're like, okay, but they're suspects in a crime. They jumped somebody at your school. They attacked basically one of your staff. We need to know who these people are. Even if we're not going to make an arrest and we go throughout the whole process and we get them counseling, something needs to start. We need their names. The principal refused, called up legal counsel, said legal counsel also told me to tell you to kick rocks. I'm not going to do that. This is all on body cam. And then the officers had the wherewithal to say, hey, here's the supporting deposition. I want you to sign the supporting deposition stating that you are refusing to give me the names of the suspects that assaulted your staff because they're individuals that go to your school. And she signed it.
Oh my God.
So it's so she wrote the deposition. I'm refusing per legal counsel, if I'm not mistaken. I'm refusing per legal counsel. At least I'm refusing to give you the names of the children, juveniles, 17, 18, who gives a shit, that assaulted one of my members of staff.
So they don't care about any staff, or it's just how their reputation is all they give a shit about. Because they're not protecting their own and they're not protecting the kids.
They're not protecting anybody. So now these two kids can go, they've got carte blanche. Why not go assault another staff member? Why not go assault some kids? Teachers or the principal's not going to give any of my information away to the police. So there you go. Families that have their kids in schools, the principals are allowing juveniles that are assaulting grown adults to remain around your children with no recourse. If your kid's being bullied at a Buffalo public school and you're not getting the response that you think you require to address that issue,
take your corn yield to new records with Veltima fungicide. Out-yield other fungicides by an average of 7 bushels per acre. Veltima fungicide delivers superior disease control, so you can make this season your best yet.
What's rarer than the perfect breakup?
I'd love to keep in touch.
No, you don't.
I don't.
And you know what? It doesn't happen to most guys.
Only with you.
A government program that costs taxpayers nothing. 340B.
To us.
This is your red flag. You might want to get involved.
And I believe there's actually a couple of class actions right now against the Buffalo Public School system.
There's now ads going around Facebook and ads getting mailed out by law firms that are basically asking people like, hey, this is apparently a prevalent issue. Get a hold of us if you want us to take a legal suit against Buffalo schools.
And this is, I guarantee, we've talked about it, but this has got to be way more. Buffalo is a great starting point, but y'all need to rally too and figure out if this is happening in your districts and start expanding and asking for this information.
Yep.
Because this is definitely nationwide.
I did even more digging on the Shane Cronin case, the alleged kidnapping at the magnet school with the museum.
Go on.
I have written testimonies from teachers that were there that day.
Oh, interesting.
Blurt out. They got a hold of me and they told me that, one, they were taken aback and disgusted when they watched our podcast because this individual...
Because we belched or because we were drinking?
No, because they were there that day and had to hear that there was an alleged kidnapping.
Caesar's M.
They found out from us that there was an attempted kidnapping that day.
What
not
the
from the administration. I have the Buffalo Schools handbook and how they handle emergency situations. The Buffalo School District has 3 states of emergency. They have shelter in place, lockout, and lockdown. Shelter in place is something for like inclement weather outside. Hey, there's a tornado or winds or a flood. It's not safe to leave the building. Stay inside. Lockout is, hey, there's an external threat to the school that we're worried may come in. We're going to lock the exterior doors to the school so nobody can get inside. Lockdown is, there's an interior threat to the school. All of the teachers need to take the kids in the classrooms, lock the doors to the classrooms, and then take a roll call so we can account for every child. Going back to the testimony.
Foreshadowing.
Quote, during the active intruder gaining entry into the school building through the museum doors, school staff were never instructed to go on lockdown, but only shelter in place.
Oh, well, this isn't a storm. Go on.
Certainly not a storm, especially for a grown man breaking into a school. That would be a lockdown situation where you locked the school doors.
Breaking into the school for the purpose of kidnapping 2 children.
Whether they knew that or not at the time, yes. Breaking in is an interior threat. They should have been on lockdown. Continuing the quote, I do know that the assistant principal was attacked by this man as he attempted to gain entry to the second floor hallway, which contains 3rd through 5th graders. After the police arrived, the intruder was apprehended in the museum. Nothing in regards to further safety precautions were taken or offered to the students or staff at School 59 that day. The children and staff were not released from the building, and the day continued as if nothing had happened. Parents were also not made aware of the incident until a letter went home with every student the following day. So yeah, they didn't tell the parents the day that it happened. They instead sent home a mass letter with all of the elementary school kids. So who knows if the parents even got those letters. I wish I knew what the letter said, but obviously I don't live in Buffalo, so that would be really hard for me to, get a copy. Oh, wait, no, I'd have to fuck copy the letter.
Oh, good.
The letter, dear parents and caregivers, as you know, safety and the well-being of our students is a top priority on Tuesday, February 11th.
That's how he was said. They were. Wow. Man, that caught me off guard.
You know what's really funny about letters like this is you could just say whatever the fuck you want.
I guess so. Hey, do these ones have untruths in them? Keep going.
Oh, we're going to get there. On Tuesday, February 11th, we had an incident where a man entered our school through the museum without permission. In response, the school was placed in a brief shelter in place. So if you guys want to say that it's an untruth that you didn't go on lockdown, I have your letter from your fucking principal saying that you went into shelter in place, which is not the appropriate protocol.
Boo. Boo schools. Boo.
And we immediately notified the Buffalo police, who responded within minutes and arrested the man. The school is also using this as an opportunity to evaluate and reinforce its safety protocols to help ensure that something like this doesn't happen again. District officials and Buffalo Public School Security also met on Wednesday with the museum leadership to discuss the situation. Buffalo's Public Schools Crisis Prevention and Response Team and other support personnel have been and will continue to be available to students and teachers. As parents, you may want to talk with your child as well. If your child exhibits any indications of emotional distress, we suggest that you listen to him or her. If they need to talk, answer their questions simply, honestly, and possibly over and over again. Please feel free to contact the school with any concerns or questions you may have. Thank you for your continued support. Sincerely, Principal Mark Shoemaker. So if you have questions about their concerns, they want you to contact them at the phone number 716-816-3370.
I would have concerns.
That is
I think I would have concerns.
Dr. Charles Drew Science Magnet, Buffalo School, number 59. So yeah, attempted kidnapping, didn't tell any of the parents, didn't go into lockdown while there was a grown man attempting to kidnap children inside the school.
Fighting assistant principals.
Breaking
into more classrooms.
According to this testimony of the teacher that was there, he actually made it into a classroom and destroyed the classroom with the teacher inside. Wasn't sure if there was kids in there or not, but regardless, that teacher who was in a classroom that this man broke into, opened the door because nobody told her to lock the doors because she didn't go into lockdown, would have been an issue.
And that when they said that they called the police within minutes or something like that, that's all fucking lie too, right?
I don't know the exact response time, but the fact of the matter is everything that they can control, like, hey, go on to lockdown and lock your doors. There's a man in here trying to kidnap kids. They didn't do. And then they didn't tell the parents the gravity of the situation. They're like, oh yeah, there was an incident. We had to go into shelter in place. Didn't mention that he attempted to kidnap kids. Didn't mention to the parents that he assaulted a principal. Didn't do any of that shit.
That can escalate so fastly. Just if that is a shooter or a situation like that, that's how you can see how bad that will get without, hey, announcing to all the administration somebody's in doing this. Instead, a person breaks into a elementary school room and destroys the room.
There's a grown-ass man in the school who should not be here.
Yes.
Who has gained access.
Yes, that would be considered an interior threat, which under their own criteria in their fucking manual that they got to write, they should have been on lockdown. And they didn't. Neat.
Damn.
Do you think anybody will be held accountable for that?
Well, no, not yet. It's become overwhelmingly apparent to me that the Buffalo District Attorney is not interested in actually getting people in trouble.